Hi and welcome to this little overview of some bits and pieces that have come through over the past few days in relation to the build-up of this eclipse, which is here in some regard now and has a big impact more in the physical in the northern hemisphere, but definitely we all everywhere are feeling the impacts and the effects that it's having, and it's a bit like come a headache, exactly. It's a bit like, come on, everybody, let's just do a final check-in to see what might be there that is slowing you up, that is in a block. And I want to say that you'll have to go, well, you don't have to do anything, but hello, sweet Cece, and hello, Stacey. But it's likely to be deep, and it might, well, no, let me repeat that. It might be deep and it's likely to be ancient. So it's likely to come from a time frame or time period or lifetime that you, well, most of you here will probably have some kind of idea of it. And what I will do is bring some light language through to shift that. So, Sweet CC is saying awake super early last few days, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., and very energized. It's a little bit all over the place for me. I am like that as well. It's like I'm sleeping in very short shifts, and that includes a bit of a kip on the couch, and I am energized as well. So I'm like the little energizer bunny at times, and then I'm like the wrung out mop at other times. I feel, I see my all of my kind of gifts are expanding, and I'm seeing and getting things much more easily, more quickly, and it's the same with my ability to tune into others. That's I feel amped up. So it's exciting and it's a stretch and it's hard to take it all in. And I want to say it's just be with it, just flow with it. Don't try and, it's that old flow with the river thing. So, hello, Pauline. Walked the beach this morning in pitch black early time. They had a ceremonial waka, go out with a crew of paddlers doing some ceremony, perhaps about the tragedy purge. That would make sense, wouldn't it? I felt New Zealand connecting in here. Nice. Yeah, well, I think that all of this, I want to say this, I want to say this stretch of water from here through to there is very linked to the continent of Lemuria. And so, yeah, the words I get for that are the ancient threading of those times and eras. ERAS. Yeah, that's right. And now we've got this ring of fire coming through, which is, I think, that it's quite a perfect visual metaphor, really, for what we're going through. So let me begin. I have wallowed in my own laziness in some ways this week, in terms of I've had a lot to do, and I decided that I would take some time for me because I've felt like I needed to, and I feel the benefits of that, I have to say, from taking a bit more time to do a bit less. So I have notes here for the last 4 days. It's not very much, but it is interesting to me anyway. So I want to talk about the 1010 portal. So the 1010 portal, when I tuned into that, it really showed up as the significance of the repeat, the mirror, and the 1 and the 0. The 1 and the 0, the 10 and the 10, and the 11 as well. So this idea that the energetics on that day were pertaining to completion and endings and new beginnings and reflections and mirroring. It was this whole mix up of that. The languaging that I got around it was soothing, smoothing, balancing, the alpha and the omega. The completion doubled, so that was something else. And the beginning and the ending, and that this is, what that portal was quite massive for opening and closing, as though we were lining up with the completion of an entire cycle as well as the beginning of a new one. And it also was showing up as aligning to and linking to the 1111 gateway, which of course will come in on the 11th of November. This pairing of the pillars, the gateways, and the mirroring. So that was the sort of general synopsis of how the 1010 portal showed up to me. Just excuse me. I'm getting really hot in here. There's some big energies coming through. I'll just roll up my trousers. Or my track pants. Okay, so when we're working with the 0 and with the 1 in numerology, my understanding of the 1 in numerology is it's the initiation, it's the new, it's the management, it's the ones. When people who are working with the numerology of 1, they are incredible solution finders, they're incredible problem solvers, they're quite magnificent at it, and they don't understand how quick they are at it. And so they were working in that number on that day. There will have been a lot of that in the atmosphere, in the conscious rippling movements of the energies of our world, as those people who could perceive them were likely feeling them move past them, because there was a lot, and it definitely had this kind of parallel rippling motion. We've come into more and more of this golden energy coming in, like a fire, but like a firework, but like a light, and cascading as well. But I wrote about that because that showed up in Gaia's cave a little bit later on. So this was it's the beginning of the end. That's another way of putting it. And so a lot of revelations, I want to say, becoming apparent. A lot of the truth, we're seeing it. Most of us were probably aware of most of it, although we won't be aware of all of it. I don't believe any of us will. That's certainly what Gaia has said to me over time, that nobody really knows the entire history. This will all be revealed, but we're really in this revelation, in the times of revelation from the Bible, in the end times, in the beginning of the end times. It's like the last part of the game is being played out, and many people are like coming into this, oh my God, wow, I'm seeing it a little bit more clearly now. And I believe that's because the veils have gone. The truth is here, it's clear, and people are able to have more countenance with it, more clarity with it, and it's showing up, I think, in a softer way, because also the divine masculine and the men in our world are much more in their beautiful hearts. So the perception of what is going on is able to be felt as much as it is seen. But we're in the build up to that 1111 gateway, that greater illumination. And certainly some of the divine masculine that I've been tuning into, they are definitely in that. I feel many of them have already made decisions. So on that day, I just want to check because I don't want to be sharing information that's personal to a few people I wrote notes for. when I was speaking to them. Um, but I want to say that the key word I got about the divine masculines on that day was vacillation is over. They have stopped doing that. They've made decisions. They have become who they are. They've grown into who their divine feminine sees them as being and believes them to be. They have or are in process of growing into that. There's a whole lot of kind of love vibes. That song, Crazy Little Thing Called Love, that was coming around my head on that day, and as well as Beethoven's Fifth Symphony. And when I keyed in or tuned into that, it was like I got when I was, because I didn't go and listen to it, but in my head it was like this grand da 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 da, that start, that opening, that let's begin, that big um, whoosh of energy, the drum, the bell, the da 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 da, the grand opening, the start, and then it's this build, isn't it? It's this building up to the crescendo. So without going and listening to the music, and I don't know it that well, but when I got given that, I could hear that, and when I asked what that was about, that was the kind of sentencing that I got about it. Hello, Billy, and hello, Lauren. Okay, so let's see what else. The ring of fire. Gosh, wouldn't I mean? I'm really hoping that people are going to be able to photograph it so that we can all see it, because it's probably going to be quite spectacular. The eclipse as the ring of fire, and then yes, the the ring of fire that kind of ascertains to the Pacifica area, I guess, as well. So yeah, the zero and the one, the alpha and the omega, the beginning and the end, the cycle, the beginning of the cycle, the end of the cycle, the gateways, the illumination. So that's always shows up to me, the 11 or the two pillars. They show up to me as the gateways of illumination, the gateways of ascension, the pillars of ascension. And so to me, between here and the 1111, there's this building to that, and that will show up in a lot of ways, and I believe it will show up in different orders for people and in different ways. But today especially, and I guess I'll get to that, um, this these headaches. So a couple of people I've spoken to who have had headaches, when I have attuned to that, it's been from ancient pivotal as well lifetimes, and they have experienced, well, they've been holding huge roles. They're huge kind of names or titles, positions, and they've in those positions, they have dealt and suffered with a lot of trauma. Hello, Sally. So I believe that we're in this clearing out, and that the headaches are coming from kind of two angles. One is because of the increase in the frequency, and the other is it's like tidying up. Maybe I'm not saying it is, but that's what I feel it might be, or is likely to be, ancient trauma that is just coming up now because we're in these sort of last parts of purification. Yeah, so I'll just read through these personal notes and pick out some bits that will relate. It's yeah, the masculine having epiphanies, ideas about what they need to do, how they will do it in the process of that. They are very much in this problem solution phase, and I really got that on that day as well, which links in well to the 1010 portal. Um, Dizziness all week with headaches for Lauren. Yeah, it's not easy, is it? But this frequency, it's high, it's fast, and it's very we're in, I believe, the sort of, well, I guess another end point of purification. Yeah, okay. So then these were the notes from the next day. The drip, drip, drip effect of awakening will soon become a downpour, is what Gaia said on the 11th of October. And a lot of new beginnings energy preparing the floodgates of human consciousness to open across the surface of Gaia. And I found that personally quite moving. So I'll just read that again so you can feel into the energetics of that. Preparing the floodgates of human consciousness to open across the surface of Gaia. You know, there's a lot of references to both fire and water, isn't there, at the moment? Preparing the way for awakenings for more people about consciousness and revelations of truth. So that it's like softening the blow. You know, it's that notion that as we get a little bit higher in our consciousness, a little bit higher in our frequency, a little bit more open in our hearts, that we can receive information that's confronting without totally falling apart. That we are one people, that we are more alike than unalike, that we are hybrids from other planets, that war is orchestrated, that health crises are created. So, this is a little synopsis that Gaia was giving, that resources are manipulated, and we have the abilities and capacities to make these conflicts past events. And so, I believe that, you know, this is like the last one or the final bastion, the last scene. As we recognize peace within and peace without, humanity and all creatures of Gaia can live and breathe as one harmonious organism. So that's where we're moving to. I personally find that very emotional. So this today here in New Zealand, of course, we're in the 14th, and so this, to me, this eclipse, it could be classified as a course correction for everybody, and that may show up in a whole lot of different ways, but it's a bit like the internal GPS. So it's like the GPS going, you know, moving, and then making an adjustment as everyone is reminded by their internal guidance, by their heart, their higher consciousness, their messages from their I am presence, their messages from their guides, however they might come to remind you, hey, this is what you're meant to be doing. Hey, you have been thinking about this all this time. Hey, this is where you're meant to be. Hey, this is where your love really sits. All of those. This is the GPS, internal heart course correction. This destiny coming into alignment. This, okay, you've been there, you've done that, you've been doing that. And okay, there's lessons, there's purpose, there's reason for all of that. But now it's time to course correct, to get on track. So I want to say that that is what came through clearly on the 11th about that. And then on the 12th, I won't read that part, that sounds a bit silly. Well, I'll read it now that I've said it. For some reason, I ended up travelling down to the cave like Mary Poppins with this purple umbrella. You know, I do go down to the cave in different ways, but that was what happened on the on the 12th. Sorry, I headed down. It was an 11 universal day if you add up the day, the month, and the year. And there were these new golden sparkling like a fireworks fountain emitting from the center of the earth. Was about 1200 millimeters high. Gaia was sitting in front of it. It was very crystalline, and Gaia saying that she would be adding to what appeared to be a golden fountain about 1200 millimeters high, but very fireworks like in appearance, she would be adding energies to it that were being contributed to from off planet as well, to build them until they would reach the top of Mount Vesuvius, is what she said. And the inner to the outer to the inner. Yeah, as we move into that place. And then today, this is what came. This day of peace and transfiguration, a blessing and a breathing, a resting and a pausing. Be still and know you are becoming all that you are. Refinement, clearing, cleansing, purification, all the way to embodiment is the general process of your higher codes and aspects, and everyone in different parts, spiraling up, spiraling through in different areas. The memories of the ancients that haven't been released now coming in for that. Rain Prince with you. Maybe it was Purple Rain. Yeah, that's a good song, isn't it? That has he wrote, a lot of musicians of that era wrote very profound lyrics that kind of got lost in their powerful melodies. And today I wrote, divine masculines, they know, and I feel most have made their decision to go or to come towards their divine feminine. And don't leap ahead with that if you're a divine feminine, but it feels to me very much as though they've made that decision. They know who and they know where they are going, and they don't yet know the timing, but it is as though they are in the release of their current situation, be that geography, relationship, job. That's what it shows up to as me. So they know I'm going there, and now it's like the pressure is off them because they know. So because they have that knowing, they've made that decision, then the big pressure on them has come off. And so now they can like take a pause, take a breath. I know when I energetically and psychically had a conversation with my DM today, he said he was going off to be refreshed in the ocean and said some things about that. And I want to say that mostly they haven't told you in the physical, but they've made that decision. They've made the decision to exit or leave the current situation. They are a little bit on pause, I wrote, whilst they decide or fathom how. And so just allow them to do that. So there are divine masculines who are still finalizing healing as well. That is still going on. But even for many of them, I feel they've made that decision. You may feel them in and out energetically at the moment, I feel as well. But in a new energy. So it's like this movement, this vacillation is coming in two energies, and one of them is, we're familiar with it, it's a very strong sexual energy, and the other is like it's you all know it because it's your energy. It's that home energy. It's like that warmth in the heart that we feel in here. That's the energy they're coming in with. So it's that, yeah, it's that home in the heart, home to the heart, home to you. That's the other energy. So they're coming in and out with both of those. That's my read on it. And yeah, that's kind of it. So I feel that for everybody, we're in this time of this completion of healing, of the clearing, of the purification. So just be mindful, be aware, be in curiosity of what comes up. Try and be present with your own undoing, unfolding. Be asking your higher self, your to be anchoring more in here, be asking your gifts to be expanded, be inviting anything that needs to be healed to or purified or cleansed or cleared to come up, to be shown. And I might just speak a little bit of light language here if you'd like to place your feet on the ground, and I'll just call in some, see what comes, some language for clearing the ancient. And I want to say, that could be right back to a few thousand years ago. It could be back to Lemurian as well, or I think mostly that, where the Lemurian stuff is showing up quite a bit. And the other couple of things that are showing up quite a bit is the energy of the dragons. So the dragons, there's been dragons in the inner earth ever since I started visiting the inner earth, and there's more kind of opportunity, energetics available for people to be seeing them in their little tiny form right through to their gigantic form. But just have your feet on the ground, take a breath, close your eyes. And I just call in, please. See, I want to say Arthurian from the time of King Arthur as well to come in. So that's Avalon. So that's to do with the sword and the stone. That's also the sword of truth. That's to do with the era, the epoch of Merlin in the south of England. That's interesting. My throat's getting all a bit. Hey. That's definitely a grounding, Tony. Narana he esya nashiya o ya ora Heyaranasi Ishiyarana Uyana Heshia Wishikani Yaho Haranasiara Kanara Shishi Anaharasi Ashia Naranana. This is definitely to do with any child wounding that's coming up for you right now. Hey, she, hey, arana, yashiana, Hey ya, oh, hey ya narashi, anakai, asiara, hey ashia, atoto iakia. Kanaranasi. Eshia, Eshia Kanaranasitia na ato akani ashiana a oishiana 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 kana siti atarana kana ishishiana. Take a breath. So I wish you a beautiful rest of the day. Much love from my heart. I hope that that helped move things for you. Happy to have some feedback here if you'd like to write that in the chat. You're so welcome. Bedtime, yeah. Yeah, bedtime is all over the whack, as is wake time. But you know, there is this real sense that we're on the edge of everything changing. It's for certain. And you know, we're the way showers for that. Remember that if you are in a divine counterpart connection, that from my perspective, from I've been working with Gaia all this time now, since I don't remember, 2016, 2015 maybe, and everything around these connections is about ascension. Everything. Everything is about the impact that these connections have on raising the vibration of love, of dissolving, smashing, as Gaia calls it, the old relationship paradigms, so that we can go higher. And that when they come together, these connections, they create this ripple of love that washes across the world and changes the world. And so, this is what we are moving to, and this is part of our role, and so it requires our healing, our alignment, our coming into the higher, our letting go of being in the present, not holding on to the expectation of anything except that the love will come. And I believe that many of us have a knowing of who that is, and I also had come to more and more be in the experience of this collective movement that is not in our hands, but it is in the hands of the divine. And I feel that the masculine are very attuned to that, and that we need to come now into our refreshment, because we have been in this time of feeling stretched and exhausted, and they are coming into their arrival, if you like, into their own magnificence, and then we will come together. And I feel that this is the beginning part of that build up. So much love to all of you. Thanks for joining me here. Hello, Andrea. And this rare cosmic alignment, Lauren is saying, of the yard is such a powerful turning point. Oh, is that yod, or anyway, this solar eclipse? Yeah. So it's like, I was thinking about this yesterday. Do you remember me speaking about how Gaia was talking about how we were like turning over the sod? And I think that was quite a while ago, that metaphor, but it came yesterday. Just remember, that's what we're doing. We're turning over the sod to begin anew, to begin the new again, to this higher. So we can be excited, and we can also be observant. I want to say that we'll be in the noticing now that people who have been asleep, people who have held rigid ideas, that they will be starting to soften in those, starting to be interested in finding out other ideas, other perspectives. The finger of God, yeah, the yod of God. Um, yeah, so that's what we've got. This eclipse is a yod of God, the finger of God, the pointer. It's the finger pointing in the direction. Is my knowledge of astrology is very rudimentary, but I remember when I had an astrology reading that apparently I had one of those in my chart, so that's why I know about that. Alrighty, lots and lots of love. Hang in there. Drink lots of water. Be prayerful. Hold your beautiful hearts in the energy of knowing, and know that we're on the edges of this change, this turnaround. Oh, is it? Okay. Alrighty. Much love, everyone. Bye.